What is poppin' YouTube? Another night, another mock draft. We just had done a live, but we had a troll that was absolutely ruining the draft experience for everyone. So we stopped that and jumped into another mock draft. So that is what we were doing tonight. And we are drafting from the 11th spot. 11th spot. So excited for you guys to be here. Excited for you to talk fantasy football, talk about your drafts that you currently have. And yeah, just excited to be engaging in this community. So as always, we are jumping in. But before we jump into anything, what are we doing? You better believe it. We are going to hit that intro. You know, that music is just like so good. At one time, I thought I was going to be a SoundCloud rapper, and it just didn't happen. But I mean, there's a lot of factors that potentially were playing into that account. But if this is your first time on the channel, appreciate you guys stopping in. We are trying to get to 70 subscribers by the beginning of the season, hopefully by the end of tonight. But if you're watching the replay, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, because it means a lot. And we're going to be putting a lot more content out, whether it's YouTube shorts, whether it's full length videos to help you win your fantasy football leagues this season. And we are about to be full. We're about to be full here. We need 2 more teams. So we are so close to be able to get this thing rolling here. So appreciate you guys for being here, for stopping in, for just engaging and having fun here tonight. Yes, always. Like, we are getting here to fantasy football. And then we need 2 more people in this draft. So if you would like to be in this draft, you can even message me and maybe I'll send that link here in the stream. But appreciate you guys for tuning in and just being here. So that is that's kind of what we're doing. So we are live. We are live. We are having fun. We are enjoying just fantasy football, and excited. I'm doing a lot of fantasy football content tonight. So who's going to fall at the 111? I haven't done a lot of drafts on the 111, and I imagine that there's going to be a few leagues where I will be drafting from somewhere between the 110, to like the 112. So that's kind of why I am doing that this way here today, here tonight, whenever you are watching it. Hopefully you are doing your research. You're figuring out exactly who to draft. Yes, I will not be drafting Damien Pierce in the 4th or 5th round, if you were asking, because that is ridiculous value. Damien Pierce is essentially the same. Guy was calling me babe in the chat, and he hasn't stopped in. He has not stopped in. He has not stopped in. You know, 1-1, everyone's going Jonathan Taylor. This guy already, Ben Graham, he joined this draft and isn't even in here. This is what we're getting with. This is the sleeper thing. Maybe next season, when we have a lot more money to spend because we won a lot of our fantasy football leagues, we're going to just be doing these on Underdog, because I think trying to evaluate with people that don't really care enough, or I mean, I know sometimes it takes a while for these sleeper mocks to fill up, but you know, he's already an auto. He's the 101 auto, man. He made sure to get in the draft. And Christian McCaffrey at the 1-2. Don't need to harp. Christian McCaffrey, my running back 1 on the season. So Cooper Kupp at the 1-3. T-Dubs, Justin Jefferson at the 1-4. Dalvin Cook at the 1-5. We're looking pretty standard. Jamar Chase at the 1-6. We start looking. We're going to have, with this start, we're definitely going to have some running backs fall, depending on what potentially comes our way. I don't know. Come my way. But appreciate you guys stopping in tonight, hanging out with me. Here we are. This is what we are. This is what we do. We talk fantasy football. We're just chilling. We're just chilling. Now, if you were watching the live on Twitter and it disappeared, like I joined another one because, of course, we had a troll. And it's just, when you have a troll that's not serious, like, I understand autoing, but when you get a troll, it's just not the same. It's not the same. It's not the same experience for the viewer on the back end of this, who's watching this after the live, to figure out exactly what they're doing. And so, like, if you are the viewer watching this after this, please please subscribe. Trying to get to 70 subscribers by the beginning of fantasy football season, and you will be number 68, 69, or number 70. So congratulations, sir or madam. I doubt there's a madam, but yeah, no, we already got 3 autos in this draft. Derrick Henry off the board. You know, I didn't think he was going to fall to me, but I thought, you know, maybe there's a chance. Maybe there's a chance. And now I'm going to be stuck with the decision between Najee Harris and Joe Mixon. And that's going to be rough. And now I'm on the clock. Alvin Kamara just went off. And you know what? I think we're going to feel really good about Joe Mixon. I just drafted him in my other draft. Joe Mixon is my RB4 for this year. And will Aaron Jones fall to us? We have Aaron Jones ranked above DeAndre Swift. It's a bold move, Cotton. I know it's a bold move. You know what though? I could also see myself drafting Saquon. It's between, Swift goes off the board, so now we're looking at Aaron Jones and Saquon, and I have Saquon over Aaron Jones. Tried to mix it up. I've been trying to mix up my variety when we're talking about those two guys, but I'm drafting Saquon for sure. Then that guy goes Alvin Kamara, Devontae Adams, and then Aaron Jones, Stephon Diggs, Nick Chubb. This is going to go fast with all these autos for sure. For sure, though. Then we had Javonte Williams. Love me some Javonte. Honestly, Javonte over Nick Chubb. I don't know. It's really hard. Like, I think I'm off Swift this year. Noah from our Trades and Grades channel is really involved in DeAndre Swift, and we debated pretty heavily the other day on stream. So I don't know. I don't know what to think. I don't necessarily know what to think. But we have CeeDee Lamb off here at the 2.8, Tyreek Hill at the 2.9, Mark Andrews at the 2.10. T Dubs being able to go Cooper Kupp and then Mark Andrews. You have two guys that could be the tight end 1 and the wide receiver 1 on their rosters. Very great value. Leonard Fournette at the 2.11. Deebo Samuel at the 2.12. Ben, my man, came back after not being able to. Keenan Allen at the 3.1. What are you guys thinking about Keenan Allen this year? Are we on Keenan Allen? We off Keenan Allen? I don't know. I was really on, but like I think I'm taking Mike Evans and AJ Brown over Keenan Allen. Josh Allen at the 3.3. This guy definitely does a lot of best ball drafts. He is getting maybe the 3 most valuable players on each position. I know you got Mark Andrews comparatively to Travis Kelce, so that's a little bit rough to say, but just being able to load up that team, and then hopefully when you come back you then hammer running back. He's doing a very big 0 RB build. I just can never do it. I don't have the guts to do it. And I just think you need, like with me getting Joe Mixon and Saquon Barkley, even if one of those guys ends up getting injured, like what happens? One of those guys gets injured and you can't help it. But at least you have hopefully the other one ready to go. So we have AJ Brown, Kyle Pitts, Michael Pittman, Ezekiel Elliott, Justin Herbert, T. Higgins, and we are going to be on the clock. And, there's a running back we like, so we could go really robust RB. None of the receivers we absolutely love. And of course, Kyle Pitts is already off the board. So we are looking at running back for sure. He goes James Conner. We're happy with that because we will gladly take Travis Etienne. And you know what? If our other guy falls to us, I think we might just go running back again. I haven't gone like absolute robust RB where you do like 3 or 4. I'm kind of intrigued. If we do it this way, I mean, we're taking a late round quarterback and we're taking a late round tight end because we will absolutely hammer wide receivers in the next few rounds. But I don't know. I don't know what we think of this team squad. If you're tuning in, are you a robust RB? I don't know. Deontay Johnson. Okay. So we're 100% going Breece Hall here. We're just loading up on running backs. Just loading up on running backs. This is crazy. Absolute crazy. Cortland Sutton at the 4.3, Cam Akers at the 4.4, George Kittle, Darren Waller. I mean, I could have made an argument to go like George Kittle there. You could have made that argument, but I mean, feeling pretty spicy. I got 15. I think I got 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 4 of like my top 16 running backs. Like that's a lot of depth that you're going to be able to play on a week by week basis. Let me know. Are you drafting Breece Hall in the 4th? And is Joe Mixon, Saquon Barkley, Travis Etienne, and Breece Hall, is that too overkill for you? Now looking back, Saquon Barkley or Stephon Diggs. Now looking back, maybe I would have, if I would have known that Travis Etienne and Breece Hall were going to be there. Of course, I'm taking Stephon Diggs. Like my team would even look better if I did that. But the fact is, you don't necessarily know. I was doing a robust RB build. I think Saquon Barkley has more upside this year than Stephon Diggs, even though Stephon Diggs, debatably, if he caught more of his passes last year, would have been the wide receiver 1. Not the wide receiver 1 overall, but he would have been a lot higher, would have been competing a little bit closer to Cooper Kupp, even in his massive season. So after I drafted Breece Hall, we had Cortland Sutton, Cam Akers, George Kittle, Waller, DJ Moore, Jerry Jeudy, Monty, Adam Thielen, and then Mike Williams off the board. The fact that I think this is another value I'm really liking in drafts is the fact that Mike Williams this is a little bit low, but he's been going somewhere around like 4.5 to 4.7 here recently. And Keenan Allen has been going early 3rd to mid 3rd. Like, who's to say that Mike Williams isn't actually the wide receiver 1 on the Chargers this year? I don't know. I think Chargers are. I think Mike Williams could take that next step. I also don't like this picture of him. It's just kind of. It just doesn't look great. But Jalen Waddle at the 412, J.K. Dobbins at the 5-1. That new video came out showing him like limping a little bit. I think that's making me a little bit nervous about J.K. Dobbins. Not taking him a ton because you have to draft him in that 5th round. Antonio Gibson at the 5-4. I just love seeing people that are still in on Antonio Gibson. This guy drafted Monty. This guy drafted Antonio Gibson after going really wide receiver heavy early. I don't know. I just think Brian Robinson, I know it's coming out that he's probably, due to him still being shot, and he got recovered and so thankful that nothing crazy happened. But the value that Antonio Gibson, probably first 4 weeks is going to be all his. And then after that, what's going to happen? What's going to happen after the first 4 weeks? I don't know. So I think it's a little bit risky to be drafting Antonio Gibson at the 5-4. If you can get him as your RB3, I especially if you went wrong, I don't know, RB3 makes me feel a little bit better. But then you're drafting him so early and you're missing out on some wide receiver value that then falls to you. We are about to be in prime position here, ladies and gentlemen, for us to then hammer some wide receivers out. Like I said, we went robust RB. We went with Saquon, Joe Mixon, Travis Etienne, Breece Hall. I drafted Joe in the first. Joe Mixon is my RB4 this year, so I was pretty happy about that. Saquon is my RB8. And now we are sitting here and we are looking at, some really solid wide receiver options. And this guy went heavy wide receiver. And so let's just hope this other guy falls to us. So we go DK Metcalf at 5'11", just because we know DK Metcalf has that elite upside. I don't think he's anything more than a high-end wide receiver 2, low-end wide receiver 1, but that's when we go really heavy RB, we need those upside shots at those wide receiver positions. And that is exactly what DK Metcalf kind of allows. And that was our guy that we were hoping was going to somehow fall 2 more spots, Allen Robinson. But this guy also went heavy RB, so he is hammering the wide receiver positions. So we are back on the clock. And, I think this is the time where we're looking at upside shots. Dalton Schultz is off the board. Hawkinson, we weren't even going to consider him here. And just based on upside, we're taking Michael Thomas. I think I'm feeling a lot more comfortable taking Michael Thomas. You might be all off that and say, Caleb, dude hasn't played in 2 years. I totally understand that. I totally hear you on that one. The last time we saw him, though, dude was an absolute monster. And I don't think anything cool, maybe his foot's 80% of what it was. But even still, Michael Thomas wasn't beating you deep. Michael Thomas wasn't catching the ball. I just lost a viewer because they did not like this Michael Thomas take. But it's true. It's very much so true. I think when you're looking at DK Metcalf and Michael Thomas, now this build, it's either you're winning the league or it's a struggle on a points per game basis. So I don't know. And Lamar Jackson had gone too. So I might have debated drafting Lamar Jackson like a high upside quarterback in your 5th or 6th round too. But once Lamar Jackson's off the board, then I am just punting the quarterback position until if a Jalen Hurts somehow fell to me at the 7-11, then of course I'll probably draft Jalen Hurts, but I don't think that's going to happen here. He still has a lot more picks to make it. And so we will probably be reassessing and adding on to our wide receiver position. We're just going to hammer wide receiver till we get one of those late round tight ends that we always talk about, like a Cole Kmet or maybe even I don't really love Pat Freiermuth, but Cole Kmet's kind of my late round target this year, just because he's not going to have to compete with a ton of targets. But if you guys are just tuning in, appreciate you guys being here. If you're watching the replay, thanks so much for sticking out to this point. Like I said, if you haven't liked and subscribed yet, please like and subscribe. We're trying to get to 70 subscribers by the beginning of fantasy football season, and we're almost there. We're 3 away. So if you want to be number 68, you could be 68, you could be 69, you could be 70. Could be your lucky day. But thanks so much for tuning in. And if you're already a big subscriber of the channel, appreciate you spending a little bit of your Wednesday evening with me here tonight. So after Kyler Murray goes off the board, then we have Darnell Mooney. Ben, even though he did auto, not looking terrible, went really heavy on the wide receiver train, then with running back, and then Kyler Murray and Darnell Mooney. I really like his team. I really like the players that are able to just really get great value and then kind of build around that. And that's kind of what Ben is doing. And I think that it's a little bit easier this year, especially to be drafting in that 1 to 5 range. It always is, you think. But Rex Burkhead at the 7-3, is this guy trolling? Is this guy actually trolling? Chase Edmonds at the 7-2. What's happening here? What is happening? Interesting. That's an interesting pick. Russell Wilson at the 7-4. Maybe I'm just going crazy. Because isn't Damien Pierce is still, I think. His ADP hasn't adjusted yet in Sleeper, but yes, I will not be taking him. I already drafted 4 running backs. I'm not going to be taking Damien Pierce. I'm off the Damien Pierce train. If you are here watching the live, are you on the Damien Pierce train or not? Like, are you believing? Are you a believer in the 4th round draft pick? Damien Pierce just went 7-6. I mean, to be fair, like I don't think it's bad value. I think the fact that you're looking at Damien Pierce and you're thinking, he's probably going to be the starter for the Houston Texans. Like, there's going to be value to volume. I just can't do it. Damien Pierce reminds me of what was happening to Mike Davis last season, even though I do think Damien Pierce is a more talented running back than Mike Davis was at last point. It was just like the volume aspect. But we saw what Mike Davis did with the Carolina Panthers. And oh my gosh, Jalen Hurts almost falls to us at the 7-11. He does not. He is off the board. So our top quarterback is Tom Brady Dak. So we are going to punt this position again. And we're going to draft another wide receiver here. And tight ends, there's some decent ones available, but we're going to take 2 high upside shots. So I like 2 guys left. So we're going to go with Elijah Moore. I'm hoping that the other guy that I want is going to fall to me, and maybe we'll make this guy, Jake, make his decision here. Will he take 2 of the wide receivers that I'm looking at? Probably not. So we're going to feel pretty good, I think, once we get to this. I think if you have drafted already, let me know if this is how you see it happening. This is what we've been seeing when we've been doing mocks on the channel, is once you get to rounds like 5 to 9, like hammering out wide receivers in this position is just so vital to your team. Like I feel like drafting the running back, if you can get one of those early round tight ends, and then like I said, rounds 4, maybe even 4, rounds 4 to rounds 8, like if you can get 2 to 4 wide receivers, it's going to really help your team. And I especially like this range of like Drake, like I just drafted Elijah Moore, Drake London, Devontae Smith, and Brandon Ayuk. Like there's a lot of chances in your drafts. You can grab 2 of those guys. And if you can, like, I just love the upside that ends up happening with your team. So Devontae Smith is off the board. So we were looking between Brandon Ayuk and Drake London, and we were just going Drake London. Drake London was my wide receiver 2 in this rookie class. We did a lot of dynasty content earlier this offseason, and Drake London, I think he got drafted ahead of course, like he was the wide receiver 1 drafted in the NFL draft. The thing that I always remember about Drake London, and I think the part that I like gave him like the hit down on, like maybe you're not as good as I was a huge Garrett Wilson guy. I just liked the route running a little bit better. I was just scared because Drake London has that like huge build, and I got burned a few years ago. N'Keal Harry I thought was an absolute monster, and then he just didn't turn into a monster. And so like Drake London reminded me a lot of N'Keal Harry, which is a totally bad like mark. But I think Drake London, we've seen the way when I looked into the stats, had to compete with Amon St. Brown, Michael Pittman, his first year at USC, and then from there just absolutely dominated the target share. So Drake London, even though he's going to be getting thrown the ball by Marcus Mariota, they're going to be down a lot, and they're going to need the ball thrown out. So I think Drake London at the 8-2. Like if Devontae Smith had fallen, I probably would have preferred Devontae Smith over Drake London. But you know what? High upside shots. And so we got DK Metcalf and Drake London, 2 high talented wide receivers in very crappy situations. So we'll see what happens. After Brandon Ayuk, we had George Pickens off the board. George Pickens at 8-4. This is what's happening. I love this time of year when all of a sudden you start to see like George Pickens. I think we drafted him last night around like round the end of the 9th, early 10th. Now he goes at 8-4. Like this is the things that happen in fantasy football drafts. Once everyone starts to get the preseason hype, is George Pickens Marquez Callaway 2.0, or is George Pickens a legit stud? I'm leaning towards a legit stud, but it'll be interesting to see what happens with him playing for the Steelers. Devin Singletary, Treylon Burks off the board. Rashard Penny, especially kind of creeping up the board now with the Ken Walker unnecessary. We don't know what's happening with his hernia situation. James Cook at the 8-8. James Cook is my running back 3. Honestly, if you ask me like in a vacuum if I preferred James Cook or Damien Pierce this year, I would say James Cook. And you might debate me on that, and I might just agree and let you argue that Damien Pierce is worth more, but I might be an idiot. Who knows? Let me know in the chat right now. Are you taking James Cook or Damien Pierce? We got 6 viewers in here. Appreciate everyone for tuning in on a Wednesday night. Let me know. Are you taking Damien Pierce or James Cook? That's what we're debating here in the chat tonight. We had Dawson Knox at the 8-9, Aaron Rodgers at the 8-10, Tom Brady at the 11, Zach Ertz at the 8-12, Tony Pollard at the 9-1, and then Damian Harris, Cole Kmet. Shout out is what was his face? Bro, he was in here like scary hours, and I don't think he tuned in. So I don't think he tuned in. But anyway, Cole Kmet at the 9-3. I was hoping Cole Kmet might fall back to me, but Cole Kmet's been sneaking up ever since he caught his first like touchdown in the preseason from Justin Fields. Cole Kmet's been slipping up the board. You could get him. I could get him in the late 9th, early 10th, and now it's of course like 9-3. Robert Woods at the 9-5, Ramondre Stevenson at the 9-6. Buffalo Bills defense Cordell Patterson. This is another reason why you don't want sleeper drafting your teams for you. But like I said, if you are new to the channel and haven't yet subscribed, please subscribe. We're trying to get to 70 subscribers by the beginning of the NFL season. I think we're going to do it. So please subscribe, please like. It helps me with the algorithm. And as well, we're trying to get more people in this community so we can do more mock drafts. And during the season, we will be doing like start and sits. We will be doing waiver wire ads, and we will be going live, I think, almost pretty much every night to try to answer your guys' questions so that we can become the best fantasy football community we can. And you know what? We are the weirdos that think about fantasy football all the time. Most of your league mates, they only think about waiver wire season and then watching the games. But we're over here preparing so that we can absolutely demolish our drafts. And this is, again, I could go tight end, and I just drafted Drake London, spoke very highly of him. And I'm going to go Chris Olave. I'm going to go Chris Olave here, and we're going to see if another wide receiver falls to us. And I don't know. I think if this wide receiver falls, this might be one of my most interesting drafts I've had, because we absolutely hammered running back, so we don't need to worry about our running back position. We took a lot of shots on wide receiver so far. We haven't drafted a tight end, and we haven't drafted a quarterback. But this is what you do when you're doing a late round quarterback build. I think it really helps the rest of the depth of your team. And you end up looking back and you're like, man, I'm glad I didn't draft Justin Herbert in the 4th round or 3rd round. And I'm happy I didn't draft Jalen Hurts in the early 6th. Dak Prescott off the board. We didn't care. We weren't going to draft Dak Prescott. We still got some interesting players available. I know Otto will probably draft one of these guys. Yeah. I don't know. Do we go quarterback? Do we draft Trey Lance? I think that's, do we draft Trey Lance in the 10th? Or do we go Garrett Wilson? That's who I'm thinking about. Because Garrett Wilson was my wide receiver 1 for rookie rankings. We got Chris for Dynasty. For this year, oh man, our team's looking pretty good. Yeah, we don't need another receiver. We need Trey Lance. That's who we need. That's who we need on this team. We need Trey Lance. And I think everyone's saying, oh, who knows what's going to happen. I mean, Jimmy G just restructured his contract. Like, Trey Lance is going to be the starter. And I know Kyle Shanahan before us, they've ran the ball a lot, and everyone's like, what's going to necessarily be happening? Like, Trey Lance has the rushing floor, which is exactly what Jalen Hurts has. Maybe he's not going to be the best actual NFL quarterback. Maybe Justin Fields turns out to be a better NFL quarterback than Trey Lance. But we also have to remember the 49ers gave up 3 first-round draft picks to trade up to number 2 to get Trey Lance. Or not number 2, number 3. And so they've put a lot into it. And yeah, I think Trey Lance is going to absolutely ball out. Prod Dynasty 18 drafted Garrett Wilson. He must be listening to this. Are you in here, my man? Let me know if you're just listening to this and you're like, crap, he's not going to get back to me. I guess you would have had a shot to snipe him again. Tyler Boyd at the 10-4, Matthew Stafford at the 10-5, Chase Claypool, poor man, had to announce the George Pickens pick. Pat Freiermuth, Derek Carr, Kadarius Toney, Rashard White, Melvin Gordon. So we will be, of course, we already hammered our 4 running backs, so we could draft another running back. We're probably going to have to draft a tight end because people are already starting to take their second tight ends, which is always like interesting, especially if you're in a redraft league. Like, hear me out on this. Do not be drafting a backup tight end and do not be drafting a backup quarterback. Like, those 2 positions are so, like, they're just going to be hogging up roster space, especially like if we're talking like your standard, like 2 flex, 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, 1 quarterback, kicker and defense type league. Like, keep 1 kicker, keep 1 defense, keep 1 tight end, and keep 1 QB. And then the rest of your positions should be wide receivers and running backs. Let me know if you don't agree with that. But that's what I'm doing. You make the mistake. They just start hogging up roster space. And like, we even think like Kyler Murray was injured a few games last year, but still played like the majority of them. And if Kyler Murray is questionable, like, you're still putting him in your lineup. You're not sending Kyler Murray to put in, like a Joe Flacco or someone like that. Like, you're rolling with it. And Mike Gesicki was we were hoping that he was going to fall to us, but that did not happen. And too bad Julio Jones does not have the tight end designation yet. Maybe it will happen, but I don't know. Nyheim Hines is also an interesting pick here. With the Phillip Lindsay, with them getting rid of Phillip Lindsay, like, if you're in a dynasty league right now, like, you should go see if you can trade for Nyheim Hines on the cheap. And if you're in redraft, think of Nyheim Hines as a sneaky late player, especially if he's your RB4. Like, I think that I feel pretty good about that. And we are going to draft Nyheim Hines. We've hit on wide receiver. The tight ends right now are just disgusting. So we're not that worried about that. But appreciate all 4 viewers for tuning in. Like I said, if you haven't already, like and subscribe. I'm just going to keep saying it every round. Like and subscribe. Be a fan of the channel. We're doing another mock draft tomorrow night. I need you to like and subscribe so you can come in and mock draft with me. And then you can interact with me in the chat. So let me say this right now. If you are here watching live, literally just type in hey so I can give you a shout out live on stream. So we are back up and we will be, and you know what? Julio Jones went. I think Jake is listening to us. And so we're looking and we're not feeling great about anyone. And we could go with a MVS or someone like that. Rondell Moore, Christian Watson. We're just going to go with MVS. I haven't taken a lot of MVS this year. I just think no one's going to replace Tyreek Hill. Like, I know I'm a huge Juju believer. Like, I think Juju probably gets a majority of those touches that were left from Tyreek Hill. But you still have MVS. You still have Mecole Hardman. Like, it's not as terrible as I think we sometimes make it think of, like, oh, like Patrick Mahomes has no one to throw it to. And I think, of course, Travis Kelce is going to get way more targets. Like, Travis Kelce will probably be the wide receiver 1, tight end 1 in Kansas City. But MVS will be going deep. And I think the people are like, well, he's playing with Patrick Mahomes. Well, the dude was playing with Aaron Rodgers. Like, I hate to break it to you, but if you can't really make it with Aaron Rodgers, like, are you really going to like just become like a fantasy football stud with Patrick Mahomes? I don't think that's necessarily how it is. So that is why I have MVS. I'll take him in the 12th round with an upside shot. So, but yeah, appreciate everyone for stopping in, being here, being on the live, hanging out with me. Kenneth Game with the 12-3, Tyler Argio at the 12-4. Those two guys going before James Robinson is very interesting. Kirk Cousins at the 12-6. We're already taking defenses here. San Francisco, the Chargers, Parker, Zamir White, Tua. Another thing, I stream defenses. I think that's why I always just draft one, because you can just stream them. You can just stream them. Your last 2 picks of the draft should always just be defense and kicker. Because you might miss out if you draft your defense early because you're trying to make your lineup look so strong. We want our starting lineup to look the best. But like, how many times does the actual people that you draft in your starting lineup actually, like at the draft, ever actually turn into who's in your starting lineup on a week-to-week basis? Like, if you get the whole team, like your team that you just drafted today, tomorrow, this weekend, to start for you next week, that is a miracle. And you got lucky because the injury bugs are still in full effect here in this season. So we are about to be back on the clock, and I don't know what we're going to do here. We need a tight end. We do need a tight end. Thank you to whoever said that in the chat. No one said it, but I thought it. And so if you want to add it in now, so if someone watches replay and thinks you're really smart, say he needs a tight end. I do need a tight end. And we're looking right now. We're looking at Irv Smith and Noah Fant. Irv Smith has absolutely done nothing to ever produce, but we get hyped on him every fantasy football season because, oh, he is an athletic tight end freak that should get all the targets in the Vikings. He should be the tight end 1. And like, he gets injured or something happens. Noah Fant has the same quarterback, or might have the same level of quarterback between a Geno Smith or a Drew Lock that he had last year, but yet we're giving him a discount because, oh, now he's not playing with Russell Wilson. Well, he never was. And so he was okay last year. I don't love it. I don't love it. If Noah Fant's my tight end 1, which he's probably about to be, I don't feel great about it. But I also, makes me feel like, okay, because we're just discounting. It's like the same thing that happened. I mean, Robert Tunning's also another good option because you're just assuming that the Green Bay Packers are going to be throwing the ball all the time. Matt LaFleur came out today talking a little bit about how there's not going to be a wide receiver 1. Like, they're going to just be spreading the ball out. So that could potentially happen here too. We're about to be back on the clock. And like I said, this is the benefits to like hammering running back early. Like, all these guys got cut. Like, people were drafting Marlon Mack in the 14th round last night. But of course, with the news that, or not last night, the night before, with the news like Marlon Mack getting cut, like, makes sense that now he will not be drafted here tonight. We're easily right here looking at Isaiah McKenzie. I don't know if he will be available to be drafted, but that is who we're going to be drafting. And then after this, we will need to draft. I mean, we will have to get, there's just so many picks. Usually, typically you're only playing 16, and we're playing 17. So we're back on the clock, and we will be taking Isaiah McKenzie. And I know there's this whole thing about, oh, Isaiah McKenzie might actually be injured and Jameson Crowder might actually take over the slot role. Isaiah McKenzie was playing with the ones all season, and I know not all season, but all preseason. So no, I'm not worried about that. If Isaiah McKenzie can play, like he's going to be a stud. He's going to be a stud. I would say the thing is, I know Gabe Davis is a more talented receiver. He plays on the outside, big. Isaiah McKenzie's just fast, and you're just taking a piece. Like it kind of reminds me of us like taking Mecole Hardman last year, like in the 10th, 11th round. Like you're just hoping for a chance, and that's what we're banking with. We love the offense, and that's what we're doing here. Like I said, guys, appreciate all 5 of you viewers for being here. If you haven't already, like and subscribe. We're trying to get to 70 subscribers, and the likes just really help my channel, help me get more views, and just reach more people talking about fantasy football, because we want to get more people in. We want more people to be able to get in these mocks with us. We had Trevor Lawrence, Jameson Wilson, Kenny Galladay, Danny Amendola. This guy is just trolling at this one. I guess I didn't even realize that. You know, I love people that do that. They leave the draft and then they ruin it for everyone else. But that is also what happens when you're doing these free sleeper leagues, not sleeper leagues, but like the mock drafts. But like if you said, eventually we're going to get to a point as a channel where I can just send out a message and we will have everyone in that wants to be in, and we'll just be able to become really good drafters because we're drafting against other people that love fantasy football just as much as us. And so, yeah, if that's you, like and subscribe. Like I said, we're trying to grow this channel. Appreciate you guys all for being here. Jalen Tolbert, 51. I know he's kind of dealing with injury right now, so he might not be available week 1. Jameson Williams, Baker Mayfield, Green Bay Packers, defense, McKissick, Chark, Watkins, Ronald Jones, Jamal Williams, and then Robert Tunning, and we are back on the clock here. And you know, we are looking, we do need a defense at some point, but like I said, we're going to wait. We're going to wait for it. We might take another shot. You know what? We're going to take a shot on my man, Nico Collins. Nico Collins is playing for the Houston Texans, and maybe they're going to be way better than what we thought before. I was kind of hoping Matt Ryan would fall for a backup quarterback. We will just gladly accept Ryan Tannehill. I think I just mentioned earlier that you should not be drafting a backup quarterback because there's potentially all the options. I don't typically play in a 17-man draft. So I will take a backup quarterback just because Trey Lance, I think, especially like feeling maybe I have all the upside in the world with Trey Lance. Like I value him highly. I think getting him in the 10th round, I don't see that a lot. He typically goes like I've seen him go before Dak Prescott and then like the 8th and the 9th. And so I'm hedging my bet. Ryan Tannehill is a solid QB2. Nothing more, nothing less. And you know what? By week 2 or 3, if I think Trey Lance has it together, then you can just draft Ryan Tannehill. But we are back on the board and, of course, need to get a defense. So we were between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Denver Broncos. And I guess ADP has Denver Broncos higher. I haven't done a ton of studying on the defenses yet, so let me know if you have too. But if you are part of this and you haven't graded your team yet, let me grade some teams. I don't think anybody was actually like watching it. So let's go through my team. Well, I'll just pull this up because it's a little bit easier to see. So I drafted, so my quarterback 1 is Trey Lance. In the first round, I drafted Joe Mixon and then drafted Saquon Barkley in the second. Drafted DK Metcalf at the 5'11", Michael Thomas at the 6'2". I should probably just have gone in order of how I drafted, but I got Travis Etienne at the 3'11", Breece Hall at the 4'2". So I went absolutely robust RB. The fantasy football counselor would be loving me right now. He'd be like, man, Caleb absolutely demolished him. I'm not that way. I made the mistake. I made a major mistake. I chose Saquon Barkley over Stephon Diggs. I was talking. I was not paying attention. Stephon Diggs. I'm taking Stephon Diggs over Saquon Barkley. But since that hasn't ever happened to me, I was a little bit flustered, so I apologize on that. But what are we thinking of my build right here? Of course, Trey Lance, Joe Mixon, Saquon Barkley, DK Metcalf, Michael Thomas, Noah Fant. We're feeling a little bit shaky about that. Actually, we're probably feeling really shaky. We were hoping Cole Kmet fell to like the 10th. He went in the 8th. We weren't prepared. Travis Etienne, Breece Hall, and then, of course, Elijah Moore. We hammered wide receivers in rounds 5 through 8. So we got Elijah Moore, Drake London, Chris Olave, Naheem Hines, MVS, Isaiah McKenzie, Nico Collins, Ryan Tannehill. I think I said it before. We'll pick up the pieces, but that's kind of my mock draft. So what do you guys think? Is this, you know what? I'm going to give myself a B+. Is this a B+ worthy? Is this a B+ worthy? I don't know. Is it B+? Or what would you say? What would you say? Is it a B? I got 7 viewers, so I appreciate everyone for tuning in. But let me know. Is it a B+? I don't know. I'm thinking maybe it's more of a B. Maybe it's more of a B. But I appreciate everyone for tuning in here tonight. Like I said already, if you haven't liked and subscribed on the stream, like the stream, but then subscribe to the channel because we're doing another mock draft tomorrow night. So would appreciate everyone for coming out to that tomorrow. I can get you in the sleeper mock draft with me and we'll be engaged and you can talk crap to me in the chat and everything like that. But like I said, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get to 70. So we got 8 people in here viewing. If you've already subscribed, thank you so much. Appreciate you becoming a part of the family. But if you have not already, please subscribe because we're trying to grow. And all the support means all the world to me. We will be putting out another video tomorrow. And so just be able to stay tuned in. And I enjoy everyone being here. And thank you so much for tuning in tonight for a mock draft. And I will catch you here tomorrow. So catch you on the flip side.